Okay, so let's start out with debt management and a definition that I'll actually read to you. Debt management is a way to get your debt under control through financial planning and budgeting. The goal of a debt management plan is to use these strategies to help you lower your current debt and move towards eliminating it completely. It deals with credit cards that don't have secured stuff with it, i.e., mortgage or, like a car payment. Debt management wouldn't help you with those types of debts. It's basically, let's say, for instance, you're paying your mortgage on time, you're paying your car payments, insurance, all that type of stuff on time, but you're having problems with your credit card debt in general. Typically, that's what it falls under, are personal loans. You may have 5, 6, 7 different credit cards, and it is becoming hard to pay those debts down. So basically, you can hire a debt management company to help get those things under control. Now, let's talk about how it works. A debt management plan, otherwise known as a DMP, is a method of repaying outstanding unsecured debt. Unsecured debt means any debt tiered to real property like mortgages or car loans. So basically, it helps you manage that situation. So you have 7 credit cards, and most people, if those 7 credit cards are maxed out, and a lot of Americans have been there, even myself, I've been there, and those credit cards are maxed out. And depending on how high the balance is and how the interest rate works, you may have 7 different payment plans. And your payment on those each month, just making the bare minimum payment, can run you, anywhere from $7,000 to $2,000, depending on your credit balances on those cards and how much you've charged on there. So let's say suppose you're paying like $1,000 a month on 7 different credit cards, and you're trying to manage that. And as we all know, each one of those credit cards, the pay dates are going to be different. So throughout the course of your month, you're paying, $200 here, $300 here, $400 there, and so on and so forth. And it becomes pretty hard. So where the debt management company comes in is basically they get all that under control. They contact your creditors. They let them know, hey, Jay, in this instance myself, he is underwater with regards to payments in general. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to try and get all of his debt together, contact all of your creditors, those credit card people that you actually owe your money to, and they actually set it up to where you can make a one-time payment once a month, so that you're not trying to pay everyone and trying to remember everything that's happened, and they get it into one monthly payment where you're probably paying, let's say, $600 a month to that debt management company, and then in return that debt management company takes that money and disperses it all 7 of those credit cards that you actually owe. So let's talk about some of the pros with regards to dealing with debt management. It'll take a lot of stress off of you with regards to paying, all those different credit cards to different creditors, where you're only making one payment, you're only sending it directly to that company, and that company is dispersing and handling your situation. When creditors contact you, you can let them know, like, hey, I'm dealing with the debt management company, and you can send them to that information. So it'll take some stress off in that aspect. Now let's talk about some of the cons. When that happens, your debt must be paid in full. So once you hire a debt management company and the creditor accepts whatever the monthly payments are, it must be paid in full. So it's not going to be profit and loss and sent out. You got to actually pay it. And these payment plans can last anywhere from 10 to 15 years. I've seen them last a very, very long time. Another thing is creditors don't have to agree. So just because you hire this debt management company, and let's say they contact Capital One and they're like, hey, I know that our client was paying you $300 a month and things are becoming tough. And so now, they hired us, they're getting all their credit in one payment, and now they're gonna be able to afford to pay you $100 a month. Are creditors gonna listen to that when they were getting $300? Well, it depends, if you were behind on payments or if you missed a lot of payments or whatnot, sometimes creditors will accept something over nothing, right? But in the long haul, they can say, nah, you know what? We don't want to accept your $100. Sometimes it'd be $50 or $25. We don't want to accept that. And they can still come after you for the full amount. It doesn't stop you from being sued or any of those types of things. And so those are some of the cons of that. Now, let me give you my opinion as a debt collector. So I have a video that directly talks about a contingent account versus a debt-owned account. I'll call the creditor, hey, I'm dealing with this debt management company. Can you contact them regarding this account? You contact the debt management company. After whatever it is that the consumer pays us, this is how much we can allocate to you to pay towards your Capital One account. So let's say, for instance, you owe $10,000 and they're saying, okay, the client can only afford to pay $50 out of this payment. A lot of times, depending on who you are, the collector is not going to accept that. They'll contact the creditor and say, hey, this is the situation, we're not going to accept that. If they can sue you, because obviously if you still own a mortgage or you're still working or whatnot, they're going to go that route because they know that, let's say in the state of California, they can garnish up to about 25% of whatever it is that you're making. So if you're making, $2,000 a month, they can garnish almost up to $500 or $250 a paycheck, depending on how you get paid. And that's a lot more than that $50 payment. So a lot of times it could get declined and so forth. Another thing is you got to understand it's a debt management company. So if you're paying them, let's say $500 a month for the next 10 years or whatever the circumstance is, out of that $500, not only do they divvy it up in the case that we were talking about of those 7 creditors, they have to get paid. So they take a piece of that money. And so a lot of times what I find happens with consumers, and this is not everyone, but a lot of the people that I've dealt with who've dealt with debt management companies, they'll be paying their payment to them, and then eventually they'll default. Something will happen and they can't pay it. They'll miss one payment or whatever the circumstance is. And then not only do you owe all the creditors, but sometimes you end up owing that debt management company. So it's not a big thing that I would recommend. Obviously, there are 3 other ways that you can deal with your consumer debt and that can help you out that I think are better. But I just wanted to let you know that debt management plan, because a lot of times with the debt management, your stuff hasn't gone to collections. It hasn't been charged off profit and loss. It's still with the original creditors. And so it's a way to get that debt under control, and you're still making those payments, and that debt management company will help you with regards to that. It's not something that I recommend, but it is an option out there for some of you guys that do that. Now, if the information that I gave you on debt management made any sense, hit the like button. Share it with your friends and family. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. And as always, you guys be great.